She grips the cub gently between her jaws, careful not to jostle its small body. The den behind them was no longer safe, too exposed, too loud. This place is better. It smells of stillness and holds 2 clean exits, just in case. But as she slips through the narrow passage, a sharp, musky scent interrupts her calm. She freezes. Porcupine. The odor is too strong to be old. Her nose brushes the dirt. She reads the story left behind. Wide tracks, drag marks where thick quills scrape the earth, dry droppings still intact. The wind confirms that her neighbor is close. A porcupine near a cub's den is no mere nuisance. It's a living weapon. Its quills are not just hairs, but spiked spears tipped with backward-facing barbs that catch in flesh and resist removal. Even a creature as hardened as a honey badger can fall to such weapons. Infection can bloom in deep wounds. She lowers her body, pressing close to the earth. Her claws flex. Her eyes narrow. She begins to circle, mapping the invisible grid of distance and danger. She knows the rules: never touch the tail, never rush the rear. The only safe path lies at the head and shoulder, where the spines are sparse. But safety is relative, and the risk is real. She catches movement in the scrub. The porcupine turns, thick and bristling. Quills rise with a dry, rattling whisper. Neither animal blinks. The space between them shortens, the air thickens. The fight is seconds away. The ring of dust around them narrows. She circles, muscles coiled, her entire world reduced to the dance between her and this armored opponent. The porcupine moves like a wheel back, always turned, quills lifted in a living fortress. Each step she takes is mirrored by a pivot, a shove, a calculated denial. Her claws twitch with frustration. The rhythm is relentless. Every imagined opening closes with a hard snap of quills. She feints left, then darts right. But the barricade moves faster than expected. A rattle, a slam quills scrape across her chest, lodging deep. The pain is sharp and dry, like hot wire. Her breath catches, lips curled back in silent protest. She twists, skin loose enough to break free, but not without cost. Another pass, faster. Another miscalculation. Spines drive into her again, this time higher, near her throat. The sting is worse. With each breath, barbs dig deeper. The scent of keratin hangs in the air. Her legs slow, her balance wavers. Now she's bleeding, her ribs pierced, her will tested. But she stays. Not from recklessness, but resolve. This isn't a hunt, it's a stand. Each jolt teaches her more. Each sting narrows her strategy. Pain is no longer a warning. It is the price of precision. She grunts, low and guttural, twisting once more inside her own hide, trying to slip free of the quills now embedded along her shoulders and ribs. The porcupine's armor is relentless, each pivot like a door slammed in her face. But she doesn't retreat. She changes. This time, her circle grows wider, forcing the porcupine to move more. Then she tightens it, quickening the pace, testing for hesitation. Her opponent answers with cold logic, rotating with stubborn precision to present its rear again and again. There's no panic in the porcupine's movements, only discipline. It's not fleeing, it's fencing. She lunges low, feints again, and finally commits only to meet a brutal slam. The pain explodes. Her chest feels aflame. She stumbles back, flanks rising and falling. Her tongue tastes the dirt. The dry sting of quills now rides every breath. But beneath the agony, something else stirs. Calculation. She's measuring angles now, not just reacting. Her body, though pierced and heavy, is still hers. She reads the porcupine's weight shifts, the subtle drag of tired legs, the slightly slowed turn. The grind is wearing them both. But she is used to the long game. She was born in it. Then it happens. The porcupine breaks from the circle. No fanfare, no final strike, just a sharp turn and a stiff, swaying retreat into the bush. Its armor has thinned. The badger doesn't chase. Not yet. First, she must shed the weight she now carries. Her shoulders and ribs bloom with cruel, upright quills like black stitches etched in pain. She stops and begins a ritual of repair. Her teeth work methodically, gripping quills along the grain of her hide, tugging them loose with practiced bites. Some come free, others resist. She finds a thick root, a rough earthen wall, and rubs against it with slow, deliberate pressure. The barbs snag, tear, and finally yield. But not all of them. Some lie deep buried in flesh, pulsing with each heartbeat. She limps a few steps, her gait altered by pain, but not broken. The cub is quiet. The den remains untouched. Across the scrub, the porcupine has stopped. It turns slightly watching, not out of fear, but out of calculation. This is not a clean victory, but a temporary truce. Neither animal gained everything, but both walk away with something intact. The honey badger has kept her ground. The porcupine, its life. And in the tension of that unspoken agreement, the wild remains in balance. She watches the porcupine disappear into the underbrush, the last rattle of quills fading like a drawn curtain. She does not pursue, not out of mercy, but clarity. The boundary is set, and she has redrawn it with blood and resolve. Now comes the aftermath. Her body throbs, but she does not whimper. Instead, she lowers herself to the dust and begins again. One foreclaw lifts and scratches the patch of quills, still unreachable by teeth. She finds a tree bark worn and coarse and presses her side against it. Back and forth, grinding, dragging, peeling away what the root couldn't dislodge. Some barbs remain, lodged too deep to reach. They will fester or fade. She doesn't know. She doesn't care. The set of her jaw doesn't shift. That's the price of holding a line. Behind her, the den remains guarded, claimed not just with claws, but with unyielding will. The cub inside sleeps, untouched by the struggle, yet protected by it. She lies down beside the burrow's edge, easing her wounds with the dirt's coolness. Every breath reminds her of what she has endured. But she is still. The fight is over for now. She does not mourn her injuries. She reads them like lessons. The stillness hums around her, thick with the scent of scorched effort. The porcupine is gone, but its imprint lingers in the dust, in her muscles, in the unseen shards buried beneath skin. She does not flinch. Instead, she rolls once against the rough edge of a fallen log, easing an itch too deep for teeth. Her movements are slow, measured, not from weakness, but control. Each stride she takes now must pass through pain, a quiet negotiation between body and will. But there is no hesitation. The den is hers, the cub is safe. She sits for a long moment, jaw tight, gaze fixed where the brush swallowed her opponent. And in that pause, something ancient echoes not triumph, not defeat, but endurance. A test survived, a territory held. Then like a page turning, she shifts again. The air changes. A breeze carries something sweet, faint, but persistent. Her head lifts, nostrils wide. The smell of wax and sugar, of comb and reward. The hunger returns, sharper now that the adrenaline fades. She rises. Her gait is uneven, but she moves. The fight was only one chapter. The wild offers no time to nurse wounds. Only the next pursuit, the next risk. The wind brushes through the low scrub as she advances, following scent threads invisible to all but her. Behind her, the den fades into shadow, watched over now by memory and instinct. Ahead, the trail splits, one path littered with old bark and the sharp tang of abandonment, the other pulsing with promise. She chooses the latter. Hunger sharpens her steps. A hollow tree leans against its neighbor, groaning softly. She pauses beneath it, nose pressed to the bark. The first cavity is wrong, just anger and ash. She backs off without noise. A flicker of motion inside had warned her. Eyes, not honey. Stings, not sweetness. She blinks, turns her head, and reads again. Another seam narrow, vertical, pulsing faintly with life. Her claws test the edges. Sticky, scented. Her shoulders roll forward. The tree vibrates as she wrenches it open. A rip, a loud crack, and the golden comb within collapses to the forest floor, fracturing on impact. She descends without hesitation. The defenders arrive at once, tiny bodies with blazing purpose. They crawl over her face, her legs, her wounds. Their stingers find soft places. But she doesn't retreat. She knows the rhythm. She knows the cost. They swarm her relentless, seething, alive with fury. The bees needle her snout, lips, and the tender edges of her eyes. But she's ready. She squints her eyes to slits, folds her lips inward, tucks her nose tight. Her armor isn't just her hide, it's habit, honed by hundreds of battles like this. She doesn't panic. She doesn't flail. She simply works. Fast, efficient. She bites through the wax, crunches the comb, gulps the syrup within. Larvae squirm on her tongue protein for the wounds. Around her, the hum turns frantic. The hive is hemorrhaging its treasure. She takes another chunk, then a third. Her foreclaws pincomb like a butcher's cleaver. Every movement is shaped by one philosophy. Take what can be carried, endure what must be endured, and move on. She doesn't linger. She doesn't clean the ground. This is not greed, it's calculation. Her belly full, her face stung, she backs away. The swarm presses in, but the job is done. She vanishes into the brush like smoke in the wind, leaving behind only wreckage and echoes. For the bees, the hive can be rebuilt. For her, it's another win etched in wax and pain. The rhythm of survival continues. She moves with purpose now, the energy from the feast fueling each stride. Her body, though sore, functions like a machine forged for hardship. Beneath her thick skin is a design of pure resilience, loose enough to twist out of a grip, tough enough to resist teeth and claw. Her claws dig fast, flinging soil behind her in arcs. Her nose leads, reading trails too faint for the eye. A mouse burrow here, a lizard scurry there. Her diet isn't picky, it's strategic. Rodents, birds, fruit, roots, eggs, even scorpions. Each one demands a different tactic, and she holds the answers in muscle memory. She switches between walking, climbing, and digging with seamless rhythm. The land is a map she decodes with scent, touch, and instinct. She doesn't rely on luck. She relies on knowledge of where she's been, of what was there before, of what might come next. Old feeding sites are revisited, broken trunks rechecked. She moves not in circles, but in spirals of learning. The bees and porcupines are behind her now, but ahead, always ahead, is the next opportunity. And in that forward motion, she is most alive. The sun leans lower as she traverses a ridge of sun-cracked earth. From beneath a flat stone, something shifts. A scorpion, black, glossy, and motionless until her shadow crosses. Then it springs. Pincers open wide, tail curled high. It lunges with practiced violence. She doesn't flinch. She's seen this before. Her head stays low, her body coiled. A quick swat of her claw pins the armored insect to the dust. The sting still lands, nicking her lip with venom. She winces but doesn't recoil. Pain surges but doesn't paralyze. Her body knows this toxin. Not immune, but accustomed. The scorpion thrashes once more. She leans in and bites down. The crunch is sharp and final. Head, legs, tail, nothing wasted. It's a small prize, but in the wild, no energy is ignored. She licks her lips, ignoring the dull throb spreading from the sting. The lesson is old, but always fresh. Danger doesn't mean retreat. It means precision. Even in pain, she remembers. The badger doesn't thrive by brute strength alone, but by choosing which risks to take and how to take them. One misstep could be fatal, but a smart strike, even when it hurts, brings reward. She moves again, as if the sting never happened. The horizon glows orange now, casting long shadows through the dry scrub. Her paws press into hardened ground, but she walks with the ease of something designed to cover miles. Honey badgers do not sprint, they persist. Her path zigzags, not out of confusion, but strategy. Each shift in direction follows a scent line, a memory, a pattern she alone understands. She pauses at a hollow log, sniffs, scratches, moves on. She remembers which trunks once held bees, where rodents once nested, where enemies once lurked. Her world is layered in invisible data. Burrow maps, nest trails, scent boundaries. It's not instinct alone, it's memory and adaptation. Her tools are many. Claws that carve, teeth that crush, skin that bends, a brain that remembers. And she uses them not in bursts of chaos, but in deliberate, unyielding motion. There is no bravado, no roar, no dramatic chase. Just a steady rhythm of decisions, tactical, precise, unflinching. The wild rewards such effort. It does not give freely. But to the one who pays attention, who calculates and endures, it offers enough to survive another day. A dry breeze carries a whisper of motion, barely a tremor in the tall grass ahead. She slows, her nose lifts, reading the invisible signals. A small animal lies pressed to the earth, hidden near a sun-warmed stone. It does not breathe loudly. It does not twitch. Its only defense is silence. She passes within 3 steps, eyes scanning elsewhere. The scent trail is faint, not worth the detour. She moves on, following a richer line that curves away into shadow. Only when her footfalls have faded does the hidden creature exhale and slip silently into a nearby crack in the stone, spared by stillness. Not every encounter ends in violence. Not every movement deserves a chase. This is the nuance of her hunt, not defined by hunger alone, but by strategy. She knows that wasted effort means missed chances. Her senses are too honed to be fooled by panic. She reads the land like an old script, pausing where others rush, turning where others push forward. In the quiet, she thrives. Her victories are not always measured in kills, but in the energy saved, the ground covered, the dangers avoided. And tonight, she seeks something more certain. The moon now traces silver over the brush as she descends into lower ground, her silhouette barely noticeable against the earth. Her pace remains steady, tireless, even as the day's wounds pull at her sides. She has rested in short spells, but only enough to breathe, not enough to forget. That's not how the honey badger survives. She isn't fearless, she is focused. She knows fear wastes time. Her senses sweep the terrain with each step, filtering smells from old fights, past feedings, abandoned trails. A scarred tree triggers a pause. Her claws scratch briefly at the bark. No fresh scent, move on. Her world is one of constant evaluation of value, threat, cost. She doesn't hunt because she's hungry, she hunts because she must stay ahead. She doesn't rest because she's tired. She rests only when the path gives nothing more. This is what makes her different. She doesn't chase glory. She endures. She adapts. She persists. And each decision, each shift in direction, holds the weight of learned survival. The wild doesn't reward the strongest. It rewards the one who reads its rules and rewrites them in her own steps. She nears a hollow log draped in old scent, not hers. The musky tang of another badger, weeks old but lingering, causes her to pause. Territory, memory. She lowers her head, sniffs the ground, reads the boundary like a line drawn in chalk. This is not her space. Yet she does not press forward in defiance. She knows the law of energy. A fight not started is energy preserved. She turns not from fear but from wisdom. In the wild, survival isn't about dominance, it's about choices. She's learned which battles to fight and which to step around. Her power lies not in brute force, but in restraint wrapped in coiled potential. She may be alone, but she is not adrift. Every path she takes is mapped in memory and instinct. The loose skin that lets her twist from the jaws of rivals, the claws that rip through roots and bone, the teeth that crunch through wax and armor, all these things serve her best when paired with judgment. And it is judgment, not fury, that turns her back now. The porcupine she once faced might still watch from a distance, but she has nothing to prove, only more ground to cover. The wind shifts again, carrying the scent of another porcupine, faint but unmistakable. It trails from the entrance of a nearby den, its freshness curling around her nose like a quiet challenge. She pauses, head lifted, reading not just the scent, but the story behind it. She knows this tale. She's lived it. The pain of barbs still lodged deep within her muscles has not faded. It lingers with every movement, a phantom memory sewn into her flesh, and that memory speaks louder than hunger. She does not approach. She does not test the line again. Instead, she turns. With quiet deliberation, she walks away, choosing the path that promises safety, not scars. This is not surrender. This is intelligence. A younger badger might have charged, but she has earned her caution. In a world where the bold often die young, her strength lies in knowing when to retreat, when to endure, and when to let the fight pass. Behind her, the porcupine remains unseen, the den undisturbed. Ahead, the night stretches wide and wild, full of puzzles yet to be solved. She moves into it with purpose, not fearless, but wise. Not invincible, but unbeaten.